everyone, and welcome to Steel Streams. I'm Jothan, and I'm here with the lovely Gracie.
Hi.
And today we'll be taking our first step in our We Play series with Civilizations 5, Brave New World. And what a brave new world it is. We are here today playing as Bismarck of Germany, and it's Oda Nobunaga.
Nobunaga.
It's a little bit hard to pronounce, but that guy is quite the boss, both historically and in-game. We picked two militaristic civilizations, and we're playing on domination victory conditions. So, it's going to be a big bowl of blood for the most part, and it's going to be awesome and great, and I can't wait to get it started. So, it appears that we are on opposite sides of the map, so it'll be a little bit hard to follow each other. For that reason, we'll be cutting back and forth as far as perspectives go, and giving you a little bit of what's what on each side here. This is going to be a co-op series, along with the majority of our series on our channel, and we're going to be getting started here. So, I'm actually in a pretty good position as far as luxury tiles and all that. I do, however, prefer to have my first city on the water, which allows me to have some kind of navy should I need it. Especially being so far away from Gracie, if I can establish some kind of naval contact or at least map out the majority of this fog of war and figure out where we are in relation to each other, that will be great. So he won't be able to do anything as far as building a city the first term. I am going to lose out quite a bit of production on that, as well as culture and faith and all that goodness. However, I think it's generally for the best. Warrior, we're going to send scouting out here. Don't want to make him stray too far because we are playing with active barbarians. It's only Prince difficulty this time around, but we're just doing that to get the channel established, get this video series out and out there. Quick pace, of course, to move things along a little bit quicker. And the map size is actually standard. That's just to keep that 8 players active on the map. A little bit, small is great and all. It's a little bit quicker of a game, but 6 players, it just tends to go a little bit too fast. So, that's pretty much my first turn. Gracie, what are you doing as far as getting us started here?
Yeah, so I just settled my first city, Kyoto. I've got a pretty good situation. I'm right here on the water. I've got 2 fish tiles that I'll be able to work in the future once I get some work boats out. I've also got this marble towards the bottom. I'm going to have to get masonry in order to start using that, but I'm figuring that my city is going to expand that way, and right now I'm going to try to use my warrior as a type of scout, though I'm working on a scout at the moment. What kind of research are we doing?
I was thinking, like you said, you've got some marble over there. I've got some stone that's going to be directly adjacent to me, so quarry definitely sounds like a good idea. I think we'll go with mining. And, of course, for anybody who's played Civilizations 5 before, majority of people I ever talk to generally have played it single player, haven't really delved into the multiplayer, and I have to say, this game is absolutely more fun, hands down, with friends. In fact, we're playing as allied team members right now, so while that does increase the initial research costs as far as points for each technology, it allows us to work together on them and divides that, therefore, in half. Generally, for the most part, it winds up being about equal as far as how long it takes to research things compared to a player who's playing by themselves. But later game, when you have more scientific structures, more cities, it's pretty much like a constant active research agreement, just spread out over time instead of that one large boost. It allows you also, to kind of work cooperatively and have to plan things out according to what both players need, which is another layer of complexity to the game here. We'll go ahead and explore in our first set of ruins. Actually, just missed what we caught there from it.
We got archery.
Oh, alright, that's pretty convenient then. That saves us some time as far as research. Of course, early game, best thing to do is just scatter your forces, try and pick up as many of those ruins as possible. Unfortunately, you do run the risk of encountering barbarians. They've got their encampment down here, which is also good, though, because now that we know where they're at, we can kind of judge what we should be doing as far as our defenses against them. Eventually, of course, our goal will be to take that encampment and stop them from respawning. Now, I'm playing as Germany, which also allows me, upon defeating a barbarian, to have the chance of taking him over as a unit on my side. I also pay less for land unit maintenance. And Gracie over there, what's Japan's national trait?
Yeah, so with Japan, I was very strategic about this. One, my special unit is the samurai, so once we get into the medieval age, I'm going to get a really powerful land unit that's going to be pivotal in this domination game. Also, my units can fight at full strength even at low health, which is definitely going to give me that edge in this domination game. I've also uncovered a barbarian encampment, and my strategy is usually just to knock them out as fast as I can. They can really be a pain in the butt when trying to expand and trying to explore. So I'm going to try to get rid of these guys as soon as I can. And we just finished up mining, and since we already got archery, that leaves us with pottery, animal husbandry, masonry, and bronze working. So far, both my economic and my foreign advisor are saying pottery. If I look at the technology tree, that'll eventually get me sailing, which would be useful for my workboat.
Well, as calendar, you do have quite a few plantation tiles over by you as far as citrus and bananas go. Of course, in order to utilize those, we will need bronze working to be able to remove the jungle and improve the tile. So it's kind of a toss-up between pottery and bronze working. Bronze working would reveal us that iron on the map, and we can immediately build iron mines. There's no prerequisite as far as that goes for the actual improvement. Pottery, on the other hand, would give us granaries, which would allow our cities to get a little bit more food. Also gives you more food with those bananas when you do happen to get them. It's a prerequisite anyway, so we will need it. But that little bit of extra growth as far as the food goes could jumpstart our production and further research. So it's really a toss-up. I really should carry around like a D6 die for moments like this, but what do you say?
I almost want to say pottery because we will be able to get it in probably 4 turns between the two of us.
Sounds good. And more research will keep us higher up on the scoreboard there, and you can't go wrong with knowledge. Whether it's the end game of knowledge or you're just picking up the basics. So I'm going head to head with these barbarians down here in the south. I do have the natural plus 40% bonus against barbarians. Unfortunately, they're fortified, so it's not really leaning one way or the other. I'm barely coming out ahead. My concern is that by the time I get him one killing blow away, he spawns another barbarian and takes out my warrior. It's a very, very common occurrence, and unfortunately, there's really not too much you can do about it. I can try and fortify him up, get him a little bit more health, or I could actually use my upgrade to do that, which I think I will. Now I should be able to take him next turn, and even if he spawns another barbarian, I should be able to fortify, heal, and defend him against that secondary barbarian. As far as what I'm going to be building next with my city, I generally tend to favor early game investments such as the Temple of Artemis, which I believe I'm going to do. 10% growth in all cities is a great boon throughout the game. 15% production building ranged units will come in handy later on. Not so much now. I generally don't use the archers or anything like that. Generally for melee as far as early games, but when you get rocket artillery and in general artillery, it's definitely helpful, and every little bit helps, so we're going to go for that. It's 24 turns away. And a lot of people are probably wondering why I'm not eager to get a worker out. And the reason why is because my first policy, I will most likely be going for the Liberty Tree. After I get that initial Liberty Tree, there is the citizenship policy, which allows you to get a free worker near the capital. And also improves the construction speed of tile improvements by 25%. Which is great. Another way of doing that, in fact, actually, just got a brute from the barbarians there, so that's great. I don't need to worry about constructing military units for the most part in early game because I can pretty much survive off of what the barbarians give me. But as I was saying, another great method of attaining free workers essentially is if you adopt the tradition tree. Oh wait, no. Sorry, just a moment. No, I'm sorry about that. It's the Liberty Tree itself. Unlocks the building of the pyramids, which you construct, and it gives you 2 free workers near the city. And any turn that you can spend developing something else in your city is instead of constructing a worker, in my opinion, is much more preferable. So we got our first barbarian encampment out of the way, and we're going to start seeing what else is to the east of us and north, and just trying to figure out the general outline of the continent we're on.
I've just come across 2 more civilizations. We've got the Ottomans, and we have, I don't know who this is actually. Enrico.
Dandolo, that would be Venice, which I believe is limited to only one city. They can't construct settlers. The way they obtain other cities is by purchasing city-states, and I can't quite... I've never actually played them myself. I'm not too sure how that works.
Well, that'll be good for me because they're right at my southeast. Not too close, though. They're between me and the barbarian encampment. You see, I got a little bit of distance between them. I'm going to poke around them, see what I can find. I'm also going to make my warrior kind of come more down south here, and I also have my scout up here, kind of just checking it out, seeing what else is up here, trying to explore a little bit, try to uncover some of this map, because it is a pretty expansive map, and the resources are very abundant. So if down the line I do decide to settle a second city, which these AIs expand really quickly, and so I generally try to counter a little bit of that by also expanding, trying to get some of those resources before they do. So exploring this map will definitely be good for the future.
As far as what our next research is going to be, I was thinking possibly bronze working, which, like I said, will allow you to chop down the jungle tiles surrounding your city, and that will give you a small boost in productivity, which, depending on which policy you adopt, should you unlock something like, say, liberty, if you happen to get a worker out, at least one to chop down those forests, if you started building the pyramids or another wonder or any kind of important long-term construction project, if you tear down those trees, it'll give you that production bonus before you manage to improve those tiles, which by then our research should have caught up and allow you to build a plantation, and we'll be in smooth sailing for a good portion of that afterwards. So you're going to go ahead and take liberty. And we're going to start moving our units back up towards our city. We're going to heal up our warrior and probably send our brute on his own to go see what we have around. Generally, as far as my outline goes, after I get citizenship, I will most likely actually be taking honor. And the reason for that is because as the German civilization, I get a natural boost against barbarians, and as we're playing as barbarians enabled, I figure as I kill them, I get free units. I might as well get some extra culture points and get an additional bonus against barbarians to make it a lot easier to kind of wipe them out. They are an issue very much so in the early game. Later game, obviously, you eventually out-tech them vastly, but I figure, like I said, I'd try and get some culture points from killing them up and save myself some money. Now, they do have, for the most part, their own units, such as the hand axe, the brute, the corsair. Those are actually barbarian-specific units. The great thing is, however, is I'm not stuck with these weakened units. If I move them into my territory, there is an upgrade path that allows you to upgrade them into the conventional unit pool. So should I say have ironworking, I will be able to upgrade them to swordsmen from a brute. Granted, it costs gold, but it's saved myself the investment as far as production goes in the rest of the early game.
This turn, my first social policy came up. I'm thinking I'm going to be going down the honor path. You said you were going down liberty?
Split between liberty and honor. Honor, I probably won't take more than the actual adoption of the tree itself, and that's just because it gives you the plus 33% combat bonus for barbarians. You receive notifications for encampments spawning, and you get culture for each barbarian killed. Also allows you to build the statue of Zeus, which is cool. Zeus was the total boss. So that all comes from just adopting the tree. The actual policies in the tree aren't super fantastic. Combat strength for melee units, which have another military or adjacent tile, that's arguably decent. 15% production when training melee units and a great general spawn. So the great general spawn is great, but 15% for melee units is debatable. At one point, you'll be researching the ability to create ranged units, and for the most part, most people prefer to spam those. 50% experience from combat could be a boon, but it's a heavy investment, really. There's a lot of things in these other trees that make the infrastructure of your empire much more efficient.
So, since you questioned all of my choices, I'm still going to go with honor.
Adopting it's absolutely a viable choice. I mean, like I said, that's what I plan on doing at some point in the near future here.
Plus, I think I'm gonna fully explore the honor tree because, especially once I get down to this professional army, gold cost for upgrading military units is reduced. That's gonna be very helpful for me, and the experience is gonna allow me, especially in the middle of battle, if my unit is dying. If he manages to get an upgrade, I can upgrade him to full health, and I've done that many times and have been able to save my units that way. So I personally really like the honor tree. I get a lot of bonuses out of it, and it's saved me a couple times.
And that's the wonderful thing about Civilizations as a game is every time you play it, you manage to do something a little bit differently. The AI does something a little bit differently, and I mean the paths are pretty much endless. It's no clear-cut way to winning. Obviously, just the victory conditions alone give you a vast array of options, and it's a very versatile game. That's definitely why it's ranked among my favorites. We did finish bronze working here, which gave us access to see iron, and there is some to my north, a little bit to my southeast. It's a little bit far down there, and that looks to be about it, but it is within reach. It's easily possible to get up there in the north and capture that. Looking over at Gracie's here, I don't see too much iron, which is unfortunate. Mount Kilimanjaro is up there. I mean, you discovered that.
Yeah, I was able to discover that, and I got some happiness from it, which was nice. Especially in these domination games, happiness gets very hard to maintain, and especially with some of these sprawling empires, they get hard to maintain. So having even just a little bit of happiness helps. But our next research is up. Let's see.
So pretty much either masonry or calendar at this point. I mean, both we will want to receive both of them at some point or another, because we do have tiles that could use both of them.
Let's go with masonry. That also opens up some of these wonders too that maybe we can get a bit of a head start on.
Definitely sounds good to me. Like I said, if for somebody who's kind of just working on the actual infrastructure of their city as far as constructing buildings, wanting to get some of those early buildings in, and then they're focusing more on their military and scouting and figuring out what's what around them and what their surroundings are. A wonder like the pyramids, which gives you 2 workers, allows you to just instantly boom. It's really an amazing. I mean, a lot of times I find myself running out of tiles to actually improve, and that's almost a problem. But it just gives me cause and reason to sack more cities. So gonna go ahead and keep this guy exploring this way. I did manage to use the policy to get the citizenship policy, which gives me 25% increased work speed for improvements and a free worker. So I'm going to set him. He's going to start building farms. My general idea and goal is to boom my city's population as much as possible without them stagnating or starting to starve themselves. And the reason for that is the higher your population, the higher your everything else, essentially. The higher your gold production, and allows you to work more tiles and get a bigger city, which, I mean, you can't go wrong. Bigger is better, usually.
I'm kind of curious where the Ottoman warriors came from. I found them up here in the north of my continent, but I don't see any other civilization. I'm thinking maybe he's coming from down south in these cloud areas. I'm going to try to go and see if I can discover him, maybe get an embassy out just to find more of this map.
Yeah, the Ottomans are also a naval empire, though, so you could have sailed from across the sea. It's a little bit early in the game for that to be too much of a possibility, but you never know. Sometimes the research paths that the AI goes on are a little bit peculiar, I suppose you could say. And it looks like we have more barbarians to the north here. We're gonna send our warrior up to assist our brute, see if we can't take that guy out and find the encampment he spawned from. Send that barbarian back where he came from, or so help me, so help me. And for those of you wondering, content we'll be having on our channel in the future, we will have some Heroes of the Storm replay footage up, as well as Age of Wonders 3 is on our list, Torchlight 2, pretty much a plethora of multiplayer inspired games. If you guys have any comments or suggestions as far as what we should give a try, we apologize, we're on a little bit of a budget, so AAA recent release games are generally put on the back burner. Steam Summer Sale is coming up, however, though, and if you guys happen to see anything great on there that runs on both Windows and Mac OS X, go ahead and shoot us a message or post on our channel, and we definitely appreciate any of the suggestions you guys happen to have to throw out there. So, it looks like we found our barbarian encampment that was hiding off to the northeast here. We do have some ancient ruins. We're going to try and grab that. I'm going to come up just short of it. Keep this brute moving. I'm going to try and get these two guys next to each other for the flanking bonus. City of Berlin did expand, which is going to give us access to this iron tile here. Going to start constructing our mine. Give us a good boost in production. Allow us to build that Temple of Artemis a little bit quicker. So I'm going to go ahead and take a moment to point out the elephant in the room, just after we select this next technology. What were you looking for?
I would like to start getting some of those fish tiles that are in my city. And also, it does seem, since we are on opposite sides of the map, it would be nice to get some boats out. So my choice would be sailing.
I agree that the fishing boats would be a good idea. You're going to have to actually construct them. They are one use only, and it expends the workboat. So what I was thinking was, if we go ahead and you secure these land tiles here, you get those improved first. By the time all that's wrapped up, we should be nearing the age where you can grab your samurai. And samurai have the ability to construct fishing boats multiple times without using themselves up. We will need the research of sailing at some point, so it's also a valid point. Also allows us to establish a trade route, which is always good. But as does animal husbandry, and it would reveal horses on the map. And I'm gonna go ahead and leave this choice up to you, though.
All right, we can do calendar.
That was just a suggestion.
Yeah, it's fine.
So as I was saying, the big black and white and red and white elephant in the room. We are playing as Germany and Japan, which has teamed up before in the course of history, and their alliance was dubbed a little something called the Axis Powers. I just found it somewhat amusing that the company that has made this game, that Sid Meier's has published, is Fire Axis Entertainment, and that sounds a little eerily close to Axis. It's in the name. But much more benevolent civilization. We are in some serious trouble here. I apologize. I was just thrown completely off by this large horde of barbarians that is now pouring forth from the walls of this little camp. Little camp somehow spawns dozens and dozens of people. Generally speaking, I try to avoid using the heal instantly promotion, because over time, if you manage to keep that unit surviving, the drill and shock and various other policy or promotion rather upgrades will add up and make an overall stronger unit. However, really want to take out some of these barbarians here. Managed to take a encampment, which spawned another brute for us, which is actually going to work exactly to our advantage. We now outnumber the barbarians and should be able to clean them up without too much difficulty. Our mine down here in the south was completed, which is awesome. We're going to make our way over here to the cotton, as next turn we'll be finishing up calendar. It'll allow us to build a plantation. Then we'll likewise do the same for the sugar down here. Got another policy, which we're going to use to adopt honor. That's mostly just for the bonus in combat, the culture gained from killing barbarians, and all that goodness. So we're gonna, next turn, moving on into turn 23 here. Most likely we're going to try and chop up these videos into about 25 turn segments. That's roughly about 25 to 30 minutes as far as length of video. Definitely want to heal this guy up here. Gonna have to eat the promotion there. Finish him. He's going to stay there. He's going to fortify until we get these 2 units back in position. Clean up that last barbarian there. As I was saying, we're going to try and keep these down to about 25 turns per segment. Just kind of keep them piecemeal so people can come and go and watch them as they come. We don't want to put a big hour-and-a-half video out there. It's a little bit intimidating and dissuading. And, you know, action will definitely be out there at some point. You'll definitely be able to see all of it. Oh, technology, right. I was standing here waiting for next turn already. I wish it would remind you that you had finished your technology.
Mine always says choose research.
Yeah, and single player it does, but it lets you, like next turn, it just shows up. It's odd.
For me?
Maybe it just doesn't like me. Should try being somebody else. I'm kind of at a loss at this point. Sailing?
Sure.
Pretty much established research for everything I need for these tiles here. Did we get masonry? We did get masonry. Mm-hmm. Okay. So yeah, I can go ahead and improve all these tiles with the research I have now. And sailing will eventually help me. I can't build samurai, so I will have to spend some time and production to build workboats so I can get these fishing tiles that are just offshore of Berlin here. We'll definitely get those at some point. And up in the north here, I probably shouldn't have done that. Didn't realize I'd use both his movement points. Chasing this guy up here in the north. Gonna see exactly where he's going. Curious to see just how far this continent goes and what its shape is like. So far, I have to say I'm almost on a Westeros-shaped continent.
Really?
Yeah, you see it, it's, you know, the neck right here, the little what have you, the north, and down here's the Vale. That's the Westerlands, with all of its mountains and mines of gold, Lannister gold.
So that makes you the Tyrells?
I don't know, I'm just above the neck, which is the midpoint, so I guess I would be closer to, dare I say, the Boltons? I'm pretty much right where the Dreadfort would be.
Just don't go start flaying people.
Yes, no, of course not. Or feeding people to dogs. Not really a fan. We are, of course, big Game of Thrones fans. Pretty much fans of all kinds of series, and throughout the majority of our Wii plays, we'll, of course, throw in some references to various media, various series, and pretty much just all kinds of nerdiness. Which, like I said, if you guys ever have any suggestions for good shows or movies or games to check out, we're generally have a pretty open mind, like to see all kinds of different genres and give a look at pretty much anything we can. So we just came up on turn 26, I believe, here, so we're going to go ahead and call it for our We Play Civilizations 5 Brave New World Episode 1, featuring Japan and Germany, the Fire Axis powers, as it were. As I said, we'll go ahead and take it up next time and probably do about another 25 to 26, 27, 30, somewhere in that range of number of turns, depending on how long the video takes. So feel free, like I said, to like and subscribe, share, all that goodness. You can find us on all the social media, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, of course. Don't forget to subscribe. Tell all your friends, and we'll see you next time on We Play Civilizations 5. See ya.